Hiya and welcome back. Sorry I've been missing for a few weeks, but what I'm going to try and do now is follow up to the droppings video we did earlier in the year. So we're going to go through some different seeds, different mixes, proteins, digestible, undigestible, and basically just have a little discussion on pigeon feeding. Now, this isn't for everybody. I mean, a lot of people will probably shake their head when they watch this, and that's fine. A lot of people will probably say he's crazy, and probably that's fine too. But one thing I will say, over the last 2 years, I've probably seen a 60% increase in the general well-being and the general health of my pigeons since I did this. Now, some of these mixes are rather cheap, some are rather expensive. Now, what I would say, everybody can feed pigeons on cheap corn. Not many people can afford to feed pigeons on expensive corn. Now, I'm not a very rich person, but what I found was the best thing to do is, if you can't afford the expensive corn, you've probably got too many pigeons. Cut your pigeons down by half and feed them correctly. Right, let's carry on then. So what I'm going to do is, these are just a quick names of the different types of seeds that are commonly found in the UK, and these are the seeds names that we use in the UK. Now, bear in mind, these names might be totally different in your part of the world, and everybody will have a local name, but these are the general seeds that we get in the UK. Now, basically, you all know this one. This is just basic wheat. We get these white peas, we get these green peas, we get New Zealand maples, and we get maize, which is obviously corn. Now, these tend to be the 5-6 staple seeds that make up any mix. Usually you'll find the cheaper the mixes, the more these type of seeds in. There is one more that's missing from this list, which I've got down on the second sheet, which I'll expand down now, which is barley. Right, so what you'll find also, this one here, tick beans and red maize, which is flamingo maize, and some of the smaller seeds that we have. Obviously, we've got the maize you've just seen, popcorn maize, got white Milo, red Milo, we've got tares, we've got white Darry, we've got sunflowers in the shells and as hearts, and we've got mung beans. Then we've got a couple of posh ones with some polished barley. A new one that's entered the UK food scene over the last few years, soya beans. Then we've got some pellets, we've got some toro pellets, and we've got some bam pellets. Both these are protein pellets. Obviously, here's a better one of the soya beans. Now, these I find really good, especially, and with the mung beans and the sunflower hearts. Right, so these are just basically about 10 or 12 different seeds that you generally find in bags of mixes of pigeon corn in the UK. They do also have probably about a 6% mixed canary, just to add a bit of smaller seeds like linseed, millet, plain canary, Niger seed, all the smaller stuff. Alright, so that's the seeds that we generally find here. Now we'll go on to the mixes. Right, well, these are probably will make up 80% of the mixes in the UK. The peas, the beans, the wheats, the darries, everything you see here is probably what you feed your own pigeons. These are bog standard cheap mixes, which you'll find that these are bog standard cheap mixes, which all can be found for under a tenner, which is roughly about £10, €12, $15. These usually come in 20 kilo sacks, and this is probably what the majority of pigeon fanciers feed, as well as myself. I mean, I've got over 200 pigeons and I can't afford to feed them high-end corn all the time. So this is pretty much some of the really basic mixes. Some of you will recognise these are your Banfords, Buchtons, couple of cheap popcorn mixes from Winston's. And these are the mixes that we've all been feeding over the years. We probably all started off with a basic one like this, worked ourselves up to something along this level. Well, a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago actually, I was in a guy's loft in Germany and I was handling these pigeons, and these pigeons they felt twice the size of mine in the hand. I was very concerned as my young birds when I was weaning them that they weren't getting the size that I wanted. They had no body weight on them, plenty of feather, no body weight. And I was very concerned that when the young bird sickness was hitting us, 80% of my youngsters just didn't have the resistance or the body weight to get them through the sickness. 2 or 3 days down the line, they were dead. So I had to find an approach. I had to find a different approach to antibiotics. Antibiotics just don't work. So anyway, this is what we did. This is what we come up to. So I moved onto these 2 mixes. Now, look pretty much the same, but these are ranging from £16.25 for this mix and £17.25 for this mix. Now what I've do, these are my 2 base mixes. This one and this one make up about 70% of my feed. Then what I do is I add a protein pelleted mix. I add another mix which is basically fats and carbohydrates. Then I add extra mung beans for more protein, and I mix extra sunflower hearts in for more protein and more fats and essential acids. And this is pretty much what I've got now. So I don't know if you can see this. So this is what we used to feed, and this is what we're feeding now. Now I'll come a bit closer. As you can see, there's a vast variety of seeds in there. Now, although there is white peas in, green peas and New Zealand maples, they've been added soybeans, mung beans and protein pellets. So although the old seeds that we use, like the old peas and that, although there's a lot of fibre in them and they're high in carbohydrates, the protein level in them is only really low. So what I've did is I've added the extra beans, the mung beans, the soybeans and the sunflower hearts to add more digestible protein, and then the protein pellets, which are also readily digestible proteins. So what I'm doing is I'm maximising the protein levels in the corn, so they're not shitting it out the backsides, they're digesting it and absorbing it, and they're growing. So what I found is that my birds have been fed on this type of mix. You can see these ones mixed together. After being found on this type of mix, what I'm finding is now the body weight on the young birds when they leave the nest, and the body weight in the wean youngsters until they get to like 3, 4, 5 months is probably twice, if not 3 times as much body weight on them as what they used to be. What's causing this? Well, it's pretty much boils down to this. If you look at the old seeds that we used to feed, so these are the white peas, green peas and the New Zealand maples. Now these make up the vast majority of protein that's in all mixes. Now you hear them called high protein mixes, and yet they've only got in between 8 and 16%. They're high in fibre and they're high in carbohydrates, which is needed as well. But the protein isn't digestible. It isn't high enough. It isn't digestible enough. So what I've done is I added more maize, which, contrary to what people say, maize isn't fattening. I mean, maize has only got a 6-7% fat ratio in it, but it has an 8 to 11% fat protein ratio. Then I added the sunflower hearts, which, as you can see there, this is the key. This is the sunflower hearts is the protein. 21% protein in sunflower hearts compared to 8 to 16% in the old beans that we use and the old peas. And then you come to something with a little bit more bump to it, is the mung beans. 24 grams of readily digestible protein. And then you get the big boy of the mix, your soya beans, 36 grams of digestible protein. So as you can see, the amount of protein in the diet now has risen nearly 4 times. On top of that, I'm adding pellets. There's some Tovo pellets and there's some VAM pellets, and they're roughly around about 14 to 15%. Then I add my little seed mix, which is the canary seeds, a few millets and darries and everything, which also I add for carbs and fats. So what I've did is I've added all this protein to me seed mix. Now this is the killer bit. The killer bit is to add all this protein, which is now digestible, which when consumed and broke down in the gizzard, the protein level becomes readily available and the pigeons maximise the use of it. By maximising the use, they gain body weight. It also improves the feather, also improves the feather length, also aids towards feather quality. All of it is plus win, 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 win. The difference is I've went from feeding 2 sacks of £10 a sack corn, which is 20 quid, to now I have a 17, a 16, so we've got 33, we've got another 30, we've got another 20, and we've got another 30. So now we've got 30, 16, 90, about £120. So I've went from now feeding about £40 a month to me feed bill is now over £120 a month. Now that's the killer, that's the crazy bit, but to be totally honest, I'm not bothered. I have seen a massive increase in the health of my pigeons and a massive increase in the overall general well-being of them. Now you can feed this if you want, nobody's saying not. You can feed this if you want, nobody's saying not. At the end of the day, what you've got to do is, like everything in life, you are what you eat. You eat shite, and this is shite, mind. You eat shite, you'll be shite. Now, this is only primarily aimed at fancy pigeons, and this is primarily only aimed at my pigeons. I'm not particularly bothered about racing pigeons, what they do on it, how they fly on it. I'm not particularly bothered about other breeds of fancy pigeons in different parts of the world, in the different countries, whether it be hot, whether it be cold or not. All I'm interested in is my pigeons in my garden. And this is what I'm doing now to hopefully combat young bird sickness, to make me birds stronger, fitter, healthier, and better quality. Because like everything, the food that you put into them also aids to the quality of them. Right, well, I hope you picked something up from this. It's been a really hard video for us to do, and I've had probably about 15 attempts at it. This is my 4th attempt this morning, and I'm not saying what I'm doing is fantastic. I'm not saying what I'm doing is perfect. I'm just giving you a little basic rundown of one of the things that adds to the success of any fancier. Now, if you want to feed them eggs, beans and chips, feed them eggs, beans and chips. If you want to feed them rump steak, feed them rump steak. It's entirely up to you. They're your pigeons. You treat them exactly how you want. Right, I hope you've learned a little bit from this. Thanks very much for those who stuck this out to the end. It's a long video, probably the longest video I've ever did. Now please, if you've got the time, only take you a few minutes, please like, subscribe and comment. And until next time, take care and see you later. Bye.